Well, I'm Mihal Kreko, pastor of Baptist Church Zagreb, and I'm also the leader of House of Hope, as we call this center. I was always thinking as a pastor how to link church with the community and what it means to be church in a city like Zagreb. I have began one of the bigger project in 2004, which is on that wall over there, called Mosaic 21, which has, and worked on it about 12 years, but I hit all the corruption that you can imagine in the city. So I had to stop with this. And then in 2015, as I was passing by this house, I saw it all in ruins. I said, what it would be if we took the responsibility to repair this and turn it to something helpful for the local community. And in that way, I started to work with the leaders of local community and got a permission first from them that yes, if you want to do this, we allow you. And with this permission, then I went to higher levels of government, and that was the beginning. Corona has affected us as a church. We lost about minimum 1/3 of people in the congregation. It also affected the inner dynamics of the church, the question of maturity, how you handle these things. Are you going to be on one side, another side? Church was polarized, and we as leaders had to handle this properly. I think we have done the best with what we could, but we still we are still under the consequences of Corona as far as the dynamics of relationship with people and so on. The House of Hope was open last year in October. We were still using masks then, but it was we were slowly coming out of the Corona. So this house was not that affected with that kind of crisis. Well, we have a history of working with refugees. 1991, when war started in Balkans, this area, we had Zagreb was full of refugees from Bosnia, Serbia, and so on. We had in this area there is a theater. Theater was turned into a operation center where we led and were caring for about 1,200 families, feeding them and so on. There were mixed marriages that that were affected because suddenly after fall of communism they discovered what kind of faith. She is Roman Catholic and he is a Muslim, and that created a tension so the marriages were jeopardized. So in cooperation and in touch with the European Union and with the United States and Canada, they developed a program to secure marriages, and then through us we have been helping those marriages to move and live outside. If I remember properly, about 200,000 people were replaced then from Bosnia and so on. So we gained there some experience working with refugees, and when 2015 we had a new humanitarian crisis, the Asian, so-called the Asian refugees movement. I guess God said, who are going to do this? How you have experience, you take it. So 2015 we started to accept people on the borders and so on, and we were heavily involved in those that were here at the center for the international protection, helping people, to present their case in a proper way. Many of them were interested to get their international protection, thinking if they are believers, they will get it easier. So they got very interested in church and so on. You know yourself more about it as well. So quite a bit of people passed through, and they are still here. We are proud that we see some of them speaking our language, then working, studying, got married. Soon some of them are going to have kids that are going to be born here. So there are some fruit of our labor that we say, okay, really all the efforts was much and so on, but there are individual fruit that we are rejoicing in. And then we had a third, as of last February, we had a third invasion of refugees. These were from Ukraine. And we were not planning that at all, but it simply appeared. And we had here a full house of Ukrainians also helping, but this was a bit different because Croatia was more sympathetic to Ukrainians than to Asians, and so it went just with much ease than the Asian refugees. With Asian refugees, there was quite a bit of challenge with local community. This local community didn't want to have anything to do with Asian, with Muslims and so on. And there was rivalry, there was opposition. They were writing letters to government that House of Hope should not operate because of. So we didn't want to publicize but we were heavily publicized before even we opened, so that the Croatian television was interested into our story, so that whole Croatia knew about. But when we are in crisis, people are thinking they will never finish this house, so that the television got interested in this kind of crisis, And then we got caught by European Union, the problem of how you relate new neighbors to a local community. And this was a story that was chosen and was then shown in 22 countries of European Union. And documentary was chosen as one of the best documentary in Barcelona as of, I think, 2 years ago it was. So we were popularized in this way, and then we included Ukrainians, Koreans got interested in helping Ukrainians, and the Korean television came, and so now we are also known in Korea. Who would think about that kind of publicity? We were not planning it at all. We have one Russian coming here, who came here from St. Petersburg, and we accepted him. He related very well to Ukrainians, so he was a decent man, intelligent man, and so on. So he asked me if we can help him to get international protection in Croatia. I was having a meeting with the Secretary of State, and I was bringing his case before. And then I learned there is no way that Russians can receive in Croatia international protection. So I said, forget about that, you will not get it. And I learned that there are a number of Russians that are in the center waiting for international protection. So there is a reservation toward Russians. There is huge openness toward Ukrainians without any hesitations. But as far as Russians are concerned, people are reserved in general. We made a policy here, no discussion about the Russian and Ukraine politics and so on, because we wanted people to rest from it, and so on and so forth. And people respected that. Even our local people said, don't go there into that quarrels and so on. Who can understand all what is going on? So our policies, we help anybody who comes, but then who comes, there was a big question about working with Muslims. So, are there spies? Am I working with some terrorist? Or now, am I working with some Russian spy and so on? That was a question. But I answered to our government, look, my job is not a national security. I am a pastor. I'm trusting you to do the homework. So anybody who makes a road to us, I know he went through a lot of inspections and so on, I have no problem now always thinking and even not sleeping, is somebody a spy or not? Everybody has to do his own job. So that is, but there are not many Russians because they know information is circulating. Can I, what is the situation? Can we come? No, you can't because it's very difficult and so on and so forth. So there are not many Russians here. And I don't know what will be the status of this our friend. Uh, 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 Most probably, if it depends about policies, perhaps because he's specialized in some fields, he might get a job or so on, but we don't know. Well, before Schengen, the when the Schengen was not applied, there were some flexibility as far or not defined exactly with the refugees and so on. Now it is very clear. It is a security board, so that it will be even harder. It was hard for refugees. Now it will be even harder. I don't know how it is in Germany, but still in our country, with our policies, there are no defined policies toward refugees. So there is one law that you can legally come and ask for asylum. But if you appeal before the border, you will not be accepted. If you try to run into, you'll be caught and sent back. If you're not caught, but you make it, you succeed to get to first police station, then eventually, depending on the kindness of policemen, you might be accepted. So this area is not defined, and simply we also don't know how to deal with it. We have cases where people want to come, they want to seek protection. There are genuine people who, based on religious freedom or some political issues, but it's almost impossible to extend to anybody international protection. As I mentioned earlier, that I see that church should be in the community, with the community, and work for the community. We have been, some of things came from communism, where we were separated from, not only from state, but also from community. And we did our own thing in the four walls. But as the freedom has come, we have also not been ready theologically, missiologically, other ways, what it really means, this incarnational approach that we are in the community and with the community and for the community. So this is model that I dreamed about how to relate. And the example, the example is actually, I read quite a bit in the literature of the let's say Baptist tradition, where we have Walter Rauschenbusch, who has worked as a social worker I think in New York and so on, and he has developed the social principles of Jesus and so on. And also reading the Gospels, you have Jesus publicly working through villages and to the towns, touching people's needs, and sickness and so on, and also teaching them about the kingdom and so on. So this is the way how Jesus would do it. You come to the community, you connect with the community, you invite community to serve together with you, and you are kind of organizing a platform where the community can serve and be served. So that's the motive behind. But this platform, as I see it, once we gain the trust, because people are suspicious about church, they're what interest they have now, and so on, and we face this. So we have to as Jesus told us, we have to be motivated with pure love. Love for God and simple love for people, and leaving things up to the God's providence, And there are people who are open for going next step and so on. So, and as I told you in our conversation, I am guided by, this was more, I learned it from Abraham Kuyper, who was a theologian and a minister of foreign affairs in, I think it was in Netherlands. He spoke about the common grace and about special grace. So I am orientated. So all what we do based on the common grace. God gives sun to shine and rain to fall on everybody. This is His goodness. We want people experience God's goodness and in many levels. And there is a special grace in Jesus Christ. You get forgiveness of sin. You become a child of God. Reconciliation is there. Spiritual growth, becoming like Jesus. That's a second. And so we orientate. Both is needed, and first and a second. So we have theological basis for what we do, and that gives us a motive, this kind of engine for what we do here. Well, this house was in ruins. It was an ex-police station before, and then some poor people lived here, gypsies too, and then it was left to nobody. So the homeless were living here, and then later on, those that depended on drugs were here. Prostitution was here, so it was really ruined to the end. So when we received this house to take care of, only walls were left. So we estimated perhaps this will cost us maybe 120,000 euros, and it ended up in 3 times like that. And as we moved, and we didn't have all money at the beginning. I said, just first money needed, let's go, and God will provide. And indeed, through the Baptist Union, Johannes got interested in this, and in this process of reconstructing helped us. We had also some people coming with working here, giving us groups that came here to work with the construction and so on, and so he participated in that. But also because he continued working with the refugees, he was continual help in supporting whatever we did with refugees. Now, last thing was that some people from Germany were deported to Croatia from, I think they are Kurds family, and we connected with the church in Germany, and they took them here, find a house for them, kids to enter the school, help the boys and then to get a job. And at the beginning we helped through Johannes with the finances for 2-3 months of rent, and so help them to move and slowly to take responsibility for themselves. So that's kind of cooperation that we had. That at the beginning it was the construction, because it required a lot of and then as it developed, now it is more into programs, and we are also as you know, we are starting a German program as well, so that connects us also, and we will have some German helpers to come for a year or so from Germany. So this kind of cooperation will continue, and we look forward to it. How can German people or people from Germany help? There are a number of ways. We would like to create a kind of cross-cultural experiences, so that young people can get in touch with from Germany with the local young people. For example, last year we started so-called Camp on Wheels, where we have a bus, where we have, last year we had Ukrainians, half bus, and Croatians, and they would go and visit Croatia in different places, learn about Croatia, but also come closer to one another, share, become friends, and so on. So this year we will make it also this is, we want to create international community. And then what happens when people travel together 10 days, they really become friends and influence one another. This is very good for local community, for parents look forward to it, but also good experience for people in Germany. We need, another thing, and then as we are thinking about entering in the area of education, we would like to introduce foreign languages and foreign culture, because more and more we become multicultural city. We need to prepare for that. So, so in that way, we would need some educators and so on to help in that. So this is more like a personnel to come and help us. Then, well, as far as the finances, we are always thinking about self-sustainable system to develop here. You know, we have a hostel that we can offer people to come, groups and so on. We are thinking about creating a good cafe center here where people can come and, you know, and if somebody wants to invest, for example, in this, it's like we call it social entrepreneurship. And if they want to try themselves there are options here to test it over here. And of course, we would very much appreciate prayers for us. We are not we are not the wisest. God knows the best ways to the community, to human hearts, and we don't want to orientate ourselves purely by the human wisdom. We need God's wisdom, and God's wisdom is granted through prayer of His church, and we appreciate prayers a lot, because that actually makes us moving and going forward. Well, you know, Europe, as also Croatia, is becoming more and more a pagan society. We would need no clue about Christian faith. We must find new ways how to reach people, how to share with them the Christian faith as a way of life. It's not only Sunday worship or some religious experience, it's life. Jesus has come to bring us life. So, and we have to bring life in the name of Jesus to our community. Of course, there is a resistance to faith out of the ignorance, and there will be more and more missionary work and more challenges this. So for us, as also for German church, in front of German church, German Christian, there is a challenge of mission in next decades. And I hope we can fulfill this mission well, so that we can pass on baton to another generation, and that they could sow something, reap something that we sow. I'm orientated by what Jesus said in John's Gospel 4, with the conversation with the lady, from Samaria. And he said to disciples, you know, others were laboring, and you entered into fruit of their labor. So I want to labor in such a way that the generation that is coming after will come on and reap.